hip hop soul in the crowd. Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. It is the Rob and Stu Show. We are on to week 4, college football pick show. Thanks for tuning in here on the Pulse Sports Network. Check us out, like, subscribe. Numbers are going up. We appreciate it. A couple of our previous episodes recently hit 500 views, which, you know, not big, but big for a small little pirate ship here. So keep letting your friends know, keep the score running. Me and Roberto appreciate it. Today
helps us out, especially after losing weeks like last week. You know, it helps pay the bill.
Not everybody had a losing week last week. We'll get to that, Roberto. Bobcat, once again, he's having dinner, I think, with the Speaker of the House. I'm not making that up. So Bobcat, have fun with that. JC on assignment tonight. We're still waiting for his report from his parents' basement from last week. This week, he's doing an on-site from a perspective of somebody working at Chick-fil-A, what that's like. A day in the life of a hardworking man. JC Shelton. Rob, I can't wait to see that report.
He's doing ride-alongs at the University of Georgia, doing 120 miles per hour.
He is a chauffeur for somebody on that team. Good for him. And Roberto, start off with you. Nice little ho-hum week last week. 2-3, but you know, overall on the season, still up 8-6 on the season. 2-1 on your doggies, 2-1 on your locks. Only person on this entire show that is above 500 in either. Help the folks out.
Listen, I mean, you're getting the best of the best with me. You know what it is. Now,
let's see if we get this right. We've had double practice.
No shot. There's no shot I get this right.
Okay.
My first regular bet a Saturday. I like Texas Tech -6 on the road at West Virginia. West Virginia coming off the big win, I guess you could say the backyard brawl. I wasn't blown away last week with the play of West Virginia. I thought their defense was decent. I did not like the way their offense looked. Texas Tech, I'd be lying to you. Chris would know a lot more about Texas Tech than me, or Stu would. I like this play, though. West Virginia coming off the huge game. I think it's a little bit of a letdown, obviously, with Texas Tech coming in. I'm willing to lay the 6 here.
Are you looking for?
Yeah, well, what do you guys think of this Texas Tech team?
Typically good at home, struggle on the road. They nearly beat Oregon at home, but they did lose to Wyoming on the road. They were up 17.
That's actually proven out not to be like a horrible loss. Like Wyoming,
Texas
to the fourth quarter. Wyoming's a damn good football team.
They are. I mean, Craig Bull's a good coach. You know, we knew he'd have them ready. You know, but last year they lost 4 of their 5 road games, so they do tend to not perform as well on the road. That goes back quite a ways.
Very mistake prone too. From what I've seen, they like to turn the ball over, and West Virginia, quite frankly, I've actually been kind of impressed with their defense. Like,
yes,
they remind me of what Pittsburgh has historically been with. Solid run game, not going to wow you in the passing game, but the defense is going to be solid. You can depend on the defense, and they kind of beat Pitt at their own game this week.
They had Djokovic in a pretzel last week.
No,
that's not hard to do.
Well, that's true. We'll go to the lock of the week. I'm doing this right so far, amazingly. The lock of the week for me is going to be the UCLA Utah under. They have the over-under at my book here at 51.5. I like the under in this game. I think UCLA has an underrated defense. I think Utah has a decent defense. I'm not impressed. I mean, obviously, UCLA's got the freshman quarterback. Utah, I don't know. I just haven't been obviously blown away with their offense last year, this year. I mean, they played decent. They beat Florida. Florida came back to beat Tennessee. They struggled to beat Baylor. I'm just not impressed with them offensive wise. I love the under in this game. At 51.5, I think that speaks volumes. That's going to be obviously my best bet. My long shot.
That's a good line too, by the way, because I've seen it between 50.5 and 51. So that might be getting the tail end of it.
My only thought would be I'd say there's a fair chance that Cam Rising is going to play this game. Which I'm still on board with you because I think he hasn't played in a year. He's going to have to work out some kinks. They're not going to be full tilt this first week. I would think that the total though would actually go up a few points. So if Rising does play, you might get a better number on. I think they might announce that on Thursday.
That's a good point. I might wait for that actually because
Yeah.
I did grab.
I gotta think if Rising plays, they're gonna push that total up a few points.
Yeah,
Roberto,
that's a good point actually.
If you text me, we'll hold off. If the number goes up higher, well, I'll give you the higher number.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's fair.
That's what you get
that a
for
lot.
actually showing up to your show, unlike other people.
Doing what you're supposed to do. All right, so we'll move on to the long shot play of the weekend. Now, seriously, don't laugh at this, okay? Because I already went to this team once, okay? And you guys are probably going to think I'm insane. And it's not because I seen him play in person.
Oh, I know who this is. Oh, Jesus.
I think
this smells.
I think the Wildcats have a good shot Saturday versus Minnesota. I really do. They're getting 12. I'm sprinkling money line at plus 355. I have not been blown away with this Minnesota team. Now, Northwestern, obviously, I know they stink. I'm not saying they don't. I don't mind the quarterback, though. I don't think he's terrible at home. Listen, it's going to be a night game. I don't know. I just think getting those kind of points at home, I like Northwestern in this spot. If they're ever going to win a Big Ten game this year, it's going to be this one.
I did get this under when it opened up, and it's gone down like
at what, 29.5?
No, it's I think it opened at like 39.5, 40.
What is the deal with the Big Ten and offenses? Is it just a conference that hates offensive football? Or I don't understand it.
Whereas, I mean, the speed's all going to go down south for the most part. If you're a fast guy, you don't want to be. Hey, fat guys don't mind being in the cold. They got a lot of layers.
Well, listen,
skinny fast guys, they don't want to be out in freezing cold.
Jim Cantori with the football analysis here.
I mean, obviously, I was at the Rutgers Virginia Tech game last week. I mean, you want to talk about two teams setting offense back to the 1930s? I mean, the forward pass was almost illegal in that game. It was rough. It was rough.
To answer your question, I just think most of the Big Ten teams run a very traditional, run heavy, play action offense. Because you need a certain caliber of quarterback to actually spread out the field and make those throws. And if you look at the SEC, and even to the ACC to a certain extent, they have much better overall quarterback play, I think, or talent.
Obviously talent. Yeah, no, obviously. I mean, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. Big Ten. I mean, that's about the sexiest player you're going to get on the outside. I mean, it's
Ohio State can recruit that kind of speed. No one else can.
Yeah, that's true. Like Urban Meyer was doing a segment on the Big Ten, and he said these other schools, they have to come up with the littlest things to try to get an advantage. He's like, when I was at Ohio State, I would just line Chase Young up against you. I mean, I'm just going to bully you right over. You don't have any chance. I mean, that's how it is, it seems.
Roberto, 3 picks this week?
3 picks this week. If I think of something else when you guys were talking, I'll throw one in at the end. But right now, there's such good games this weekend. I mean, that's one thing we're going to get into too a little bit. I mean, these games this weekend are awesome. I mean, listen,
Love the board.
yeah. I mean,
Love
Stu
the
and
board.
Chris, they know everything about every college football team,
Chris,
junior college football
love
Yeah.
the
team.
board.
I do
These
too.
big games.
Which is why I'm extremely frustrated that I have to go to a wedding this weekend.
Oh, man.
We
For someone I don't like. It's my wife's friend.
Tough scenes. Tough scenes.
yeah.
The room, I don't even like the dude.
And for those
Tough.
who don't have YouTube,
Tough.
what CVD said is
Went
he's
downstairs.
just
I won't say it.
overjoyed. He's ready to go. He's ready to roll.
Pour one out for Stu. He's going to the pumpkin patch with the in-laws this weekend.
I gotta go to the amusement park. It's my son's birthday. War
He'll
criminal.
have another birthday. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, my brother planned a
yeah,
birthday
if
party.
If we said his birthday was on Sunday, he wouldn't know.
My brother
No.
planned
No
my
idea.
nephew's birthday last year, the day of the Tennessee Alabama game. So
I remember that.
I didn't get to watch the game live. We had to watch it. We watched it taped without knowing what happened. We did.
Jonathan Van
Man,
Dyne,
understood.
war criminal or not, we'll hang up and listen to your
Yeah.
thoughts. All right. Speaking of war criminals, that's a great segue. J.C. Shelton, noted college football analyst, he pulled a first, I think, for the season, and it's the first time in a while on this show, certainly. 0-4. Not a single win, not a single pick correct. Georgia, South Carolina over. Didn't come close. Mississippi State blown out. No offense, the Vols as a lock. Arkansas.
And I told him picking Tennessee and Florida as a lock. What is he thinking?
It only gets worse from there this week. Overall, 9-15 on the season. That's a hole. You gotta dig yourself out. 1-2 on the dogs. But here's the great thing about JC. His locks this year, 0-5. So it's officially fade JC right now. Let's start with his regular picks. Florida.
Hire him North Coast.
Hey, look, there you go. There you go. That's
hey, when you're having a rough year, our newsletter is, and this is not a laughing matter. If there is anybody that's a customer that is listening to this, please understand that I'm not laughing about it. I'm upset about it. But our newsletter is 1-11 the last 2 weeks in college. Yeah, not good. Not good.
It can't get any worse though. So that's the problem. You've hit the floor.
Yeah.
Only one way to go.
2 weeks ago, we were 1-5. I said it can't get worse, and then we went 0-6 last week. So we actually can't get worse now in college. So
that's a positive. Only positive vibes. JC Shelton, he likes Florida State -2. The Utah Utes -4. His dogs, Notre Dame +3.5. Arkansas +18. Primetime +20.5 at Origin. And he sent me Mississippi State. He sent that to me, but I'm almost positive he means Ole Miss. I'm not sure though.
Oh, I can hear Bobcat screaming as we speak. By the way, Chris, Bobcat guaranteed an Alabama national championship. Not once, but like 3 times last week before that South Florida game.
No, he
told me
has
to
South
bet
Carolina.
everything I own.
He has South Carolina. What's that line?
6.5, I think.
Okay. Yeah, he has South Carolina -6.5. So obviously, I think he does mean Ole Miss, but Ole Miss +7 and South Carolina -6.5 to beat Mississippi. And his lock of the week, and luckily he picked this perfect in time, laying 7 This was about 2 hours ago before he picked Missouri, and it was before the news came out that Brady Cook may not start this week for Missouri at QB, and the line has fallen. So now it's plus 5.5. So I'm giving Missouri plus 5.5. Memphis is a strong play, folks, which leads me to the MVP of this show. Look, folks, I don't care what his record is. He's number one in your program, number one in your heart. Mr. Tuesday Night, the whole effing show. Noted husband of the Cinch. He is Chris Van Dine. He's better than John Van Dine, and you know it. CVD, ncsports.com. What's good, baby?
I'm better in a lot of things than my brother. I will say that.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's not
among them basketball,
I've hung
definitely
out
a
with him.
basketball
Yeah,
player.
Pretty clear. Just the athletic advantage right
He
there.
can beat me in golf. He's got me there. Maybe not mini golf. I get him every once in a while, mini golf, but he has the edge in golf.
Sport of Kings.
NCAA, the video game, frustrated the shit out of me. He beat me so bad one time that I put my head through a wall in anger. I'm dead serious.
You Gus Ferrated the wall?
I got up, I punched the wall,
Nice.
but it was at my mom's apartment. I punched the wall. Actually, I'll backtrack a little bit just because it's a funny story. We played 2 games, and he beat me like 51-0 the first game. And then the next game, he's up 42-0, and like 30 seconds left in the game, and then went.
Tell me he kicked a field goal. He McVayed.
No, he somehow ended up scoring a touchdown. And as he's scoring the touchdown, he goes 2 games, 100-0, and tosses the controller down. I was so angry. I walked over to the wall. I punched the wall, and my hand hurt. But then I went over to a different area of the wall, which was drywall, and I headbutted it, and my head went through the wall. I had anger issues when I was younger. I don't behave this way anymore. Mid-20s.
And that's how Chris Van Dine learned about security deposits.
He looked like
the best
Vladimir
part,
in the program.
the best part. So this was at my mom's apartment. So I did this. I left in the morning before she woke up. I was like, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge before she sees this. So, and I'm expecting a phone call like any minute now, and it never comes. And then like 4 weeks later, I'm driving home from a high school football game, and I get a phone call from my mom. And she's like, "What did you do to my wall?" And she's screaming at me. And I'm like, "Mom, that hole has been there for 4 weeks. How oblivious are you?"
I love what happened? Did you put up like a poster, like Shawshank Redemption style?
No, it was literally, she walked out of her bedroom and she had to stare at it every day and just didn't notice. Like, it wasn't like a giant hole, but it was, the drywall was pushed in, probably about, 10 inches. It was noticeable. She didn't see it.
Roberto, who else pulled the Gus Frerotte? There was somebody else that later did the Gus Frerotte.
Ran into the wall.
I headbutted the wall. Frerotte popularized it, but somebody else did it too.
All I could think is Big John Henderson from the Jaguars used to get smacked in the face in the locker room before the game, screaming and yelling. Ran into the wall. Beckham with the kicking net. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, we're going to look that up. CVD, let's get on the right side of things. 10-11 on the season. 1-3 with the doggies. 1-3 with the locks. Hank Bachmeier on your Christmas card list, yes or no? Your thoughts?
No, he doesn't exist anymore. I'm done. You are not, matter of fact, you might not get me to.
Is he deader than the Pac-12? Your thoughts?
No, the CUSA is dead to me. Unless I'm playing against the CUSA team, the CUSA is dead to me. It's just it's a conference that needs to figure itself out. I am going to go against a former CUSA team for my lock. I'll start with that. And I don't normally put plays out on Tennessee, but I'm going to. Off the loss, Heupel has been very vocal about not being happy about the way that game was played, about their performance. He believes in Joe Milton. They have 100% faith in him. And I do think Joe Milton's going to be fine. I think against a bad UTSA team that is not reaching the expectations they thought they would. Additionally, Frank Harris, I don't think plays this game. He did not play against Army, and I don't see any reason you would put him in harm's way in Tennessee.
Yeah, you want him 100% for the rest.
Yeah,
because they can still win their conference.
Right, their conference openers on deck, so they're going to want to keep him healthy. I'm confident that Tennessee will not be facing a Frank Harris led team, which means you get Eddie Lee Marburger playing against you. I'm fairly
Electric.
sure
Electric.
Yeah, first road game for Eddie Lee Marburger as a starter. Tennessee is 6-1 against the spread the last 2 years when they're coming off a loss. Last year's 2 games when they were off a loss, they won by 56 and 42. They're only laying 21 here. I just think that this
20
is
and a half is still out there. I'm seeing a 20 and a half. That's what I'm playing.
Yeah, I'd love to get this under 3 touchdowns. I think that also Tennessee getting Cooper Mays back, their center, I think will be a big difference. Ollie Lane might be one of the worst starting offensive linemen Tennessee's had to use, at least since a few of the guys that they were trotting out there in Jeremy Pruitt. And, they ended up having to actually bench him last week at one point because he was screwing the game up so bad for him. So Cooper Mays coming back, who's an all-conference SEC center, is going to be a big relief to that line. They are going to be missing a couple guys on the defense in the first half because of the suspensions from that fight. I don't think that'll matter. I think they have enough depth in the defensive line. So I think Tennessee rolls in this game. Before I get to my underdog, I want to get to a few other games I like that I'm going to use. Indiana, not normally a team I like to use, but they did show something last week, and they've actually covered all 3 games this year, surprisingly. Down 21-0 against Louisville, fought back, only lost by a touchdown. Have a Tennessee.
Good call, Roberto. Good call.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good quarterback and transfer Taven Jackson. The defense playing better than I expected it to. And traditionally, Indiana, when they play non-Power 5 teams, they take care of business. 7-2 against the spread against non-Power 5 teams at home the last few years. Akron is 0-6 against the spread versus Power 5s the last few years, and they're not covering by an average of I had it at work. I believe it's like 14 points a game, somewhere between 12 and 14 points a game. So you're clearly getting overmatched by your Power 5 opponents. Indiana has to have this game if they want to get to a bowl, so they're not going to take it easy or start pulling starters too early. They want to make sure they win this game and probably get a little margin to build confidence. So I think Indiana laying.
I've got 16.
Yeah, that seems like a cheap line. I guess a bad Akron team should be able to take care of business. I will take South Alabama, who flexed their muscles last week. We were expecting South Alabama with 18 starters back this year to be one of the top teams in the Sun Belt. That didn't play that well the first couple of weeks, but they did play some good competition, including Tulane. They were only down 7 in the third quarter of that game, but they ended up losing by 17. Showed up last week, smoked Oklahoma State. And I think they're going to do the same to Central Michigan at home. Give me
That's 15 is the line there.
Oregon laying the points, 21 against Colorado. You're taking Travis Hunter out of the lineup now. So you're taking their top corner and one of their top receivers out of the game. And I just think that Colorado at this point has lost a lot of steam. Spent a lot of energy these last 3 weeks. Oregon, on the other hand, they've played a pretty light schedule up to this point, other than Texas Tech, Portland State, and who they play last week. Hawaii, so they haven't had to spend a whole lot of energy, while Colorado's had 3 hard-fought, physical, big games in a row. And, I mean, we saw how Colorado State was playing that game last week, just completely taking the villain role. I think that that's going to take a lot out of Colorado in this game. And I think that when they finally lose, it's not going to be close. All the steam's going to be gone, especially if Oregon jumps on them, which I expect in Autzen Stadium. My underdog, so okay, I got two of them. The first one is SMU. I'm not a big fan of this TCU team. I know they beat Houston last week, but Houston lost to Rice the week before, and they had fallen behind 28-0 in that game. So I don't think that TCU is anywhere near what we saw last year. Chandler Morris is a decent quarterback, but I think that the defense, while having played better the last couple of weeks against Nichols and Houston, is definitely susceptible to having some struggles. SMU has done well keeping games close against Power 5 teams and stuff of that nature. And Preston Stone has already thrown 9 touchdown passes this year. They didn't get blown out by Oklahoma in the opener, in a road opener. That they played well enough to keep themselves in the game. That they actually only got outgained Oklahoma by 2 yards. And my other dog is Eastern Michigan. I know that it's not a sexy pick, but you can't go wrong with the record. I believe 25-6 now. Yeah, 25.
I knew it.
25-6 as an away underdog. And here's the kicker: Jacksonville State's 5-18 as a home favorite. So you got one team that can't perform when they're a favorite at home, one team that always, for some reason, plays well as an away dog. And I don't understand why the hell is Eastern Michigan getting 6 points here. I thought that was high. We figured the line was going to be right around a pick 'em, 1-2 points. I'm just looking at what the line is currently.
I'm seeing 6.5 or
7. 6.5.
Yeah. There are some 7s out there, but yeah, it's going to 6.5.
I don't understand what Jacksonville State has done. I know Eastern Michigan hasn't been, but that's always what Eastern Michigan does. When they're a favorite, they don't cover. When they're
I think it's based off that game against Massachusetts where they barely won.
Yeah, and they didn't look good against Howard. But that's what they do every year. They never look good when they're a favorite. I don't know what Chris Creighton does to get those kids fired up when they're an underdog and get them to play better. But, I do think there's a general disbelief in Eastern Michigan because they're not a very well-known or popular program. So there is a little bit of just inflated value.
What's your thoughts on the under in that game?
Oh, I watched the whole Eastern Michigan Minnesota game a couple weeks ago.
53.5 seems wildly high.
Yeah. Jacksonville State they're putting up 344 yards a game. They've thrown as a team 1 touchdown pass in the season. Defensively they're not bad though. They're giving up 302 yards a game. Yeah, I think the under definitely could be in the mix. Thank you, Stu. It's something I'll look for at the end of the week for late phone totals plays. I do believe that is it for me. I don't think I had anything else. You know what? One more I'll throw out is Kentucky. Well, it's actually going against what we have in Power Suite, but I think Kentucky is going to.
Okay, we need to have a chat about Kentucky because they have started slower than molasses in November. In every single game in the first half where it's halftime and they're up 10-3 against Ball State or 7-6 against.
It was 23-7 at half against Ball State. I mean, that's not great.
It's not great. And Devin Leary is not looking like. I mean, he very reminiscent to me of Will Levis. No,
but Vanderbilt is awful.
How dare you?
Vanderbilt and Kentucky's going to have the home crowd edge because no one roots for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt doesn't have a home crowd edge in any game they play, pretty much. Ray Davis has looked very, very good. 7 yards a carry, 7.2. And Kentucky is getting back their best offensive lineman from injury, Kenneth Worthy, this week. So I think that their run game will be a little more potent against the Vanderbilt defense that is absolutely god awful. And frankly, I like Clark Lee, but he might be in over his head when he plays these SEC teams this year. And Kentucky, remember, they lost this game last year, so I don't think they're. I think they're going to be out for a little bit of blood.
All right, brings us up to the aforementioned Bobcat, 9-9 on the season, 0-3 on his dogs, 0-2 on his locks. We'll see if that improves this week. He also likes Kentucky laying the 14, Utah -4, Alabama Crimson Tide laying 6 at home. Shocking turn of events there. Hope you're sitting down for that news. Oregon laying the 21. His dogs this week, the Catholics from Indiana, +3.5. And the birthplace of college football, Princeton. Princeton plus we're got Rudiger's +24. Lock of the week is the Seminoles from Florida State. And that'll do it for the Bobcat. We'll see. Of course, he's got like all these picks on a ticket I got a ticket for $58,000. And that's his text every week. It's just an astronomical amount of money for something that will never happen. All right, let's get to my picks. I'm the only one here with a winning week last week. 18-14 on the season, 2-3 on my dogs. However, 4-1 on the locks, baby. Lock it in. Game of the year play, 2-0. I mean, who's giving you multiple game of the year plays before October 1st? I don't know. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
You also gave out Temple, but okay.
War criminal. All right. EMU. I'm on EMU as well. Chris Creighton Love +6.5. I'm also on the under 53.5, as we just talked about. The Vols of Tennessee -20.5. Chris hit the reasons perfectly. Origin at Orgeron -21. Again, Chris, I'm lockstep with you on those two. You know, life's too short to play the under. All right. And I know Chris agrees with me. But I'm taking the under in Troy, Western Kentucky, 58.5. This Western Kentucky offense, something's off with it. And have you noticed that, Chris? I know they rely on Malachi Corley, and he's had some injury issues early in the season. I mean, he's playing through it, but this offense just does not have the same zip it did last year.
I mean, I didn't watch any of the Houston Christian game. They had moments in the South Florida game, but Corley missed a lot of that game.
When he left the game, Austin Reed looked lost.
I mean, they had a couple good possessions later in that game when they took the lead.
I'm just surprised the Troy game is 58.5.
I'm just afraid of Western Kentucky's defense because their defense is not good.
I do,
but I get it because Troy's offense has struggled at times.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming off a 16-14 game against James Madison, and that defense is wretched. So 58.5, I like that play. I'm taking Aggies at home to beat Peyton Thorne up because I don't think he's very good against a competent defense. -7.5 for the Ags. A play that just missed out for me. I scribbled it off at the last second. Oregon State Wazoo under 56. And now I know they're two competent offenses. I think Wazoo's got a decent defense. Oregon State's got a good defense, competent defense. I don't know. This just it feels more of a first 1 to 28 wins. Chris, your thoughts? I know Rob doesn't know what I'm talking about. He hates West
No
Coast
clue.
football. Hates it. Doesn't exist anymore, too.
And for someone that doesn't like the West Coast, you love looking at West Coast games. I've been impressed with Cam Ward this year.
He's really turned it up.
Yeah.
And I thought Washington State played really great defense against Wisconsin last week.
They did.
It's nice in the last season of West Coast football that the West Coast is having a good season.
I'm going to have to look more into it myself to give you an opinion. I mean, Oregon State's defense has played really well. They just haven't really played anybody.
I just can't trust the quarterback.
I think the system and the fit's right. I honestly think DJ is in the right offense for him, and I think he's capable and competent. Oregon State is a solid defense.
Capable is a strong word.
I'll tell you right now, Oregon State's beating Colorado.
I agree with that. Where's the game at?
Doesn't matter.
Colorado, but they're unbeatable at home. They do.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. I read that on ESPN because Little Wayne's gonna walk out there. The Rock's gonna drop a rock bottom on.
You're a hater now.
No, I meant Oregon
hater.
State's. I meant Oregon State's unbeatable at home. They've lost one game in 2 years at home.
Two live crew making a comeback in Colorado.
2 for me, 2 for you. All right. Let's go to the doggy. I'm going deep here. Bombs away with the Scarlet Knights plus 24. It's the revenge of Rob. It's the revenge of Dave Rosenthal. It's the revenge game for Uncle Jeff and Bombs Away Bob. This is where they get right. This is where you take a stand against Vladimir Putin and those war criminals. Please, for the love of Christ, just make them sweat. And then lock, I'm going with the Catholics, and I've already bet a money line. I bet it immediately when it came out. I love Notre Dame here. I don't think Ohio State is going to throw the ball very well against this defense. I think they're going to struggle to get the run going. And even if they don't, this is the first time Notre Dame in how many years has had a good offense. I mean, this is a very good offense. Hartman running it.
My only fear in the game, to be honest with you, now I've watched Notre Dame the past couple of weeks a little bit. I feel like they start games very slow.
Yeah, maybe the first half under.
I like the game under period.
Is this going to be a game where McCord, Ohio State has played these games over the last couple of years, where in the beginning of the season, they tend to struggle a little bit and not look great. Is this going to be one of those light bulb games where everything goes on? Or do you think McCord is just going to be McCord and they're just going to rely on Harrison?
You can't judge anything against Western Kentucky.
Yeah, right? I know. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you can't judge anything. It's hard for me to say. Indiana gave them fits, and I kind of see this potentially. That this reminds me a lot. Notre Dame's already been tested. If you think going into NC State in those kind of conditions is easy, they walked out, they cruised. I think the coaching staff is on point.
But their defense hasn't been tested yet.
NC State's got a good offense. I mean,
they don't have a Marvin Harrison Jr.
You know what? Let me tell you what. Georgia hasn't. Their team hasn't been tested because they haven't played Caleb Williams.
Oh, they haven't played anybody. We know that.
Fuck out of here with that. Is a nonsense.
I'm just saying.
It's such a weak argument. They haven't played Marvin Harrison Jr. Oof.
I'm just saying.
Get out of here. Is he even going to play? If they get down, is he even going to play in the game?
If he gets nicked up, he's not going to play now.
Oh, well, yeah, we know that.
I want to add one more. I want to add one more card to my play before we end this.
Okay, another card to your play.
Yes. Clemson.
I don't hate it, Rob. I don't hate it.
Clemson money line.
That's a strict number bet to me. You're getting 2.5 to the number 4 team in the country. Something's not right. Something stinks in that game.
By
No,
the way,
I do not
bodes well
trust
for
Mike
you. This is
Norvell
a
in a big game.
Bobcat lock. This is a Bobcat lock here, so that bodes well for you.
Go ahead, Chris. What were you saying?
I don't trust Mike. I think Dabo's got the coaching edge here. I know that Florida State won that game against LSU, but in a big ACC game like this, we've never seen Florida State have to deal with these kind of expectations. And I think that we're going to see the best of Clemson because we saw the worst of Clemson in the opener against Duke. I think we're going to see the best of Clemson here.
And let's be honest, they should have won that first game at Duke. If they had any kind of red zone, they outplayed them. They should have won that football game.
Stop fumbling the ball inside the 10-yard line. That's all it comes down to. It's not difficult.
Nope.
So what does anybody have a line on the under for the first half of the Notre Dame Ohio State game? If the total is 55.
Maybe 28.
We good with that? First half under 28 for Notre Dame Ohio State.
20.
Why don't you just wait until the line pops up?
And that does it for us. This is
not super complicated.
Oh, I got it here, Stu. It's 27.5 on DraftKings.
There you go.
Not a play. Not a play. Staying away. I am going to consider the end game under, though. Folks, love the board this week. Check out ncsports.com. Power Sweep is free this week?
We did email Power Sweep out to anybody. If you are interested in getting a Power Sweep, email me, chris@ncsports.com. I'll send you a copy for this week. If you are a subscriber, you get our September 5-star, our top play of the month, free this weekend. We are releasing our top play of the month this weekend on Saturday. Will be a college side. So, definitely check us out, ncsports.com. Or like I said, if you want Power Sweep, just email me, chris@ncsports.com, and I will get you a Power Sweep. You can also message me on Twitter @ChrisV160.
I'm looking forward to you giving out Michigan State money line this weekend to the good folks.
Not happening.
The Spartans keep rolling along. Roberto, you and me are back. Bobcat will be joining us to talk NFL. He has some opinions about the Edgels and their offense. And I can't wait for you guys to have a really civil conversation about it.
I have thoughts.
Okay. Can't wait to hear them. So for Steve, yes, sir.
One more thing, definitely check out the Power Sweep podcast. I got Andrew Filipponi from CBS Radio, also host on 93.7 The Fan, joining me this week for a little college football talk and handicapping. He's coming on as a guest handicapper. So Stu, I'm going to get you on in the next couple of weeks as well.
I was about to ask, baby. I've been really enjoying the guest list so far. And I hope Stone comes back. I think Colby did a great job.
Yeah.
You got to have some of these guys come back again during the season because it's been a really nice little piece of the show.
Bring Stu on to bring the numbers way down. Then the next guest can pop them right back up.
I think last year, did I call Michigan fans Nazis?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. Haven't been invited back, but hopefully this year's the year. So for CVD, Roberto, myself, go Rutgers, beat the Putin-led war criminals, and we will talk to you next week here on the Robin Stu Show.